Hi, this is Tisch Aitken, and it is Friday, September 15th, 2023. Mercury stations direct today at 4:21 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, just a degree off from the world point, meaning that it impacts every one of us at 8 degrees of the mutable earth sign of Virgo, anything at 7 degrees of the mutable signs. Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces is at the world point, hitting people on the world stage and hitting every one of us. This defaults back to the Saturn in Pisces tail that we've all been working with since March 7th of this year. Saturn initially entered Pisces on March 7th, where it will tour on and off through February 15th of 2025. Now, Saturn stationed at the world point, 7 degrees of the mutable water sign of Pisces on June 17th. We just had Mercury station with an opposition to where Saturn stationed earlier this summer, or actually even before the summer hit. And we had the super moon on August 30th was at 7 degrees of Pisces. And that also defaulted back to the Saturn station, giving us a lot of information of what we've been working with since the spring. And now Mercury just stationed direct. In the beginning of this month, we had six planets retrograde, and two of which were personal planets, Venus and Mercury. Venus has been transiting in Leo since June 5th, and it will be there through October 8th. And it's stationed direct on September 3rd, the day before the grand benefic Jupiter, the planet of manifestation, expansion, higher knowledge, seeking wisdom and optimism and manifestation. I already said that. Jupiter retrograded on September 4th. So we had Venus stationing direct. That's a personal planet. That's positive because although it loves being in Leo, it only retrogrades once every year and a half. And it's a big deal of reconnecting with your values, with how you're valued, how you value other people, figuring out your creativity, your creative endeavors, and your relationships with money. And so all of us have been on that journey. And in Leo, hopefully trying to have some fun in a very sad time. And there's a lot of creative energy at force because Jupiter currently is at the world point, also at 15 degrees of the fixed earth sign of Taurus. The fixed signs are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. We keep getting degrees at the world point, meaning big news. Jupiter is the biggest planet. And we have Jupiter stationing where the total lunar eclipse occurred on November 8th of last year. It was at 16 degrees of Taurus, conjunct Uranus, the planet of innovation, surprise, and chaos. Then you fast forward to May 5th of this year, there was a total lunar eclipse at 14 degrees and 58 minutes of Scorpio. Again, just 2 minutes from the world axis, 15 fixed. And now Jupiter is stationed, or just stationed rather, at the world axis on September 4th, hitting off both those eclipses, but hopefully improving the story you've been dealing with since last fall when we had that eclipse and Mars was retrograde during that time period. And then the total lunar eclipse this spring on May 5th was also very challenging. And now Jupiter at the world point, it's expanding the chaos and the energy, but it also is very fertile and abundant in Taurus. The new moon occurred yesterday and at 9:40 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time at 21 degrees and 59 minutes of the mutable earth sign of Virgo. And this defaults back to when Mercury retrograded. And it retrograded, when did it retrograde? In August. I can't even think. And it retrograded at 21 degrees of Leo, Virgo, of Virgo rather. And now this new moon that occurred yesterday occurred right on the degree that Mercury retrograded. Mercury stations direct today at at 4:21 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I'm feeling the retrogrades. So are you. So give me a break. Okay, just kidding. But we feel the clarity, big news, Jupiter at the world point, big news in our own lives on the world stage. I know I got big news this week. I know a lot of people are getting big news, but also, how do you expand good fortune in your life with Jupiter at the world point? The new moon in Virgo, focusing on your health, your habits, being of service, doing work and getting things accomplished. Virgo loves to work. And this new moon, I cast the chart for Washington, D.C. It had Taurus rising. Therefore, Venus is the ruler of the chart in Leo at the world point too. It's just, I think it's like less than a minute off from being at 15 degrees fixed. And on Sunday, Venus will make a third and final square to Jupiter, the two benefics of the zodiac. And yes, that can be excessive and too much, but it can also be highly creative. Venus will be in Leo through October 8th, and it's been there since June 5th. It's a long time. And it retrograded at the royal fixed star known as Regulus, the kingmaker and the queen maker. It's known as the heart of the lion. And so, for each of us, how do we open up our hearts in a very sad time where we feel lost at sea with Saturn at the helm in Pisces? That's really, choppy waters. Saturn doesn't like being in Pisces. And so, my feeling is that, we need to feel that the dream is possible. Venus in Leo is saying, tap into your inner light. Each one of you has something that shines like nobody else, and whatever that is for you and whatever that is for me, and opening your heart in a time where many of us feel fear and anger. And what is depression but inverted anger? And many of us, all of us, feel that in some way or another, because it's been a sad time. But we also hopefully are connecting to love. And the North Node is transiting in in Aries, and the nodes of fate change signs this summer. So there's the fire energy where it's saying, be courageous right now. You have to be a pioneer. But with the Pisces story, this is part of the collective. We're swimming together in sad seas, but we can also heal together. We can make music together. We can make love together. We can create magic together. And that's the idea also. And we're certainly not done with Pluto and Aquarius. I know I'm going off on a lot of different tangents, but the idea is reflection. We're still in very much a retrograde tone. This new moon is about reflection as you go ahead and create new habits that serve you as you serve others, because this is the way we're going to heal, is healing ourselves but also working together. We are working together during this time, or it will not work. And this new moon is about streaming streamlining things in your life and trying to tweak things that you want to improve, not having judgment, because we can be very critical of ourselves. And I think that with Mercury at the world point setting off Saturn, this is, really reminding us of the limitations uh, that we're in, certainly, but we have to be structured. I know I'm reminding myself I couldn't even do the law of abundance because I can't find a checkbook. And I know many of us don't use checks now, but it still is kind of ironic. Saturn and Pisces, I'm trying to do the law of abundance and I don't even have a checkbook. So I know I can print one and I know I can write one, but I think that, it's trying to deal with structure as much as we can. And so if you haven't done the law of abundance yet, well, guess what? Neither have I, but we still have this really good manifesting energy. The new moon fell in the fifth house of creativity, love. It's the Leo house because Leo is the fifth sign of the zodiac. It's about your creative expression. It's about doing work that's meaningful for you, but opening your heart. This new moon forms a beautiful trine to Pluto, the planet of transformation. That's the most elevated planet in Capricorn. So it's about transforming structures in our lives. Certainly, things are getting let go. Pluto squared the nodes of fate 3 times in July. So, a lot of heavy departures and change and big decisions have been made. And now we're getting lots of stories, still lots of information from the past, because Mercury doesn't clear its shadow until September 30th. And when it gets to 21 degrees of Virgo, and Venus won't clear its shadow till October 7th, when it gets to 28 degrees of Leo, which is where it retrograded on July 22nd. We're still working with Venus in Leo. It's now direct. It's about shining and adding your light to the collective. We are still working with the Mercury retrograde story, but now this is really good for just like that feeling when you return to school and you get new notebooks and pencils, or we used to, and all those things. And you feel like this year I'm going to do really well in this subject. I'm going to do this differently. We have a fresh start, a tabula rasa. And that's even true of the Saturn in Pisces tail, because Saturn will retrograde back to 0 degrees of Pisces. It stations direct on November 4th at the very first degree of Pisces, enabling all of us an opportunity to revisit Saturn in Pisces thus far. So if you don't like the story you've been narrating this year, you can restructure it. And I would encourage you to find community with whom you connect and resonate in doing this, because we cannot do this alone. And I wish you a lot of luck, a lot of big information, but also an energy of moving ahead. And I neglected to say that's a grand trine with this new moon, because they both form a beautiful trine to Uranus. And Uranus is the planet of genius and of community. So good luck, everybody, and take care, and thank you.